Hey guys, Jamie here, keeping it koi. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome. I hope to earn your subscription today. So as you can see by the title of this video, today we are fitting this thing. I'm going to get the Tempest up on the little pond, and I'm going to show you the best way that I've been told to get this fitted. And if you need to fit one of these, I think you'll find this video very interesting. Stay tuned. Before we fit that, let me show you this. So here we have a blue box. What could be in the box? What have I been sent? New mug, new channel mug. So thanks to Shrewsbury Koi. If you haven't seen Shrewsbury Koi's channel, go and check him out. He's got a lovely pond with some absolutely cracking fish. The guy has a Akamatsuba that he's going to give to me one day. I wish. And what came with the mug? Coaster. So as we've got a lovely glass coaster, I'm guessing these were done by Jill and John. That is going to get used regularly once I've tidied up this pergola, because that's going to sit on my little coffee table down here, and that is going to be my pond coaster. That, when that pond's finished, is going to get hung up with all the others. So yeah, thank you Shrewsbury Koi. Again, go and check out the chap's channel. He has some fantastic fish, and one day he'll fit his easy pod. So you may remember when I picked up that Tempest, I got that off Dave, Eden Koi, and when Dave had sold it to me, the way he'd fitted it made it very, very difficult, doable but difficult, for me to refit. So I come up with a solution, but before we look at the solution, I'm going to show you what the problem was. Obviously there's an 1.5 inch pipe on the inside, and what Dave had done is this was either a 90 or a T coming out of the Tempest, and that's why it looks extra thick, because you've got the inner pipe and the outer fitting on there. So to get that off, I'd have to heat that up, try and peel the inner pipe away from the outer to try and then get the outer off, and then continue heating the pipe to get the pipe out from inside that bit. So doable, but pain in the backside. So went down to Japan Koi Imports and said, have you got a rubber boot that's going to fit that? He said, you don't want to do that, Jamie. You don't want to do that, Jamie. What you need to do is you need to buy a new valve. I said, why do I need a new valve? He said, because this side is the exact same as this side. Buy one new valve, it's cheaper than buying the individual components all together. Take that bit off there, that bit off there, and swap over these two bits, which is what I did. And now this is still the new valve, as you can see. That's Japan Koi Imports barcode. So if any of the seals actually go on the valve itself, all I've got to do is take the middle bit off this and put the middle bit into the Tempest. So that was a brilliant idea, saved me a bit of money, probably cheaper than 2 rubbers anyway. And yeah, I'll show you how I'm going to fit the new parts of the valve onto the Tempest. And here we are. As we all know, the Tempest itself accepts a that's not very stable, is it? The Tempest accepts a 1.5 inch pipe in there, but most of us run our ponds on 2 inch pipe, if you're hard pressure pipe, for your returns. Now some people do run 1.5 inch, but if you're 2 inch everywhere else, why would you want to go down to 1.5 inch to restrict the flow? So what Mark, I don't know how or where he discovered it from, but what Mark has discovered and has passed the information on to me, so I'm not taking the credit for this. This was Mark at Japan Koi Imports, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, what that guy doesn't know about pond building isn't worth knowing. Right, so what you do is you get one of these, which is just a standard 2 inch union. Which way are we? That way. So standard 2 inch union to connect and disconnect lines, pumps, okay, Syrah. But what a lot of people don't know is these unions fit absolutely beautifully onto the outside of that fitting. So if I stand that up a second without breaking or damaging it, and then I will be able to show you. It can go down a little bit further, but I've put it there for now because obviously the nuts and bolts and whatnot. But bear in mind, yes, they are nuts and bolts and you don't want to block them in, but all you would need, all you would need is to put a spanner or pliers on that end and unscrew it from that end. So that's what I'm going to do. Then I don't need to restrict the flow. Obviously it's restricted down to 1.5 going in there, but again, another thing he showed me years ago is, you imagine a piece of pipe, say like that, if that was say 20 meters long, even in a straight line, and you tried to blow through it, it's quite difficult. You know, you'd need a lot of puff to be able to blow through that. But then if you cut out just a tiny little 1-inch section of that pipe and then blew through it, you'd be able to blow freely as anything. So the idea is it's not the narrow gap, it's the narrow gap on a long run. So if I left that 1.5-inch pipe for a long run, that's going to really restrict the flow. To stay on 2-inch pipe and only go down to 1.5 inches for that little bit there and that little bit there, because I've got one of these for both ends, that's going to hardly restrict the flow. And on top of that, by having a demountable union right there and right there, means that if I ever change my mind or need to buy a new Tempest or replace the Tempest or take parts off the Tempest or whatever, I can demount it very, very easily. So that's how I'm going to fit it. So I'll go and grab the glue and we will get the top bit up there. I've got some metal tie to hold it up against the post while I get the Tempest up there, and then I've got some uber industrial brackets, which I'll also show you them in a minute, to support the weight. Now it's a lovely and sunny afternoon, so I'm going to do this on the lawn so I don't make too much of a mess, because this stuff, although it's one of the best glues I find on the market for solvent welding, the old Weld On 725 wet and dry, it can make a mess. Step one, if you're gluing pipe, is make sure the inside ring that's going to go on the inside is all nice and clean, and the outside ring of the bit that you're gluing it to. I use big wipes. Big wipes are absolutely brilliant. They remove silicone off your hands, including CT1. Yet to test this with MS300, but we'll find out when I fit my window. But yeah, so I use that. Removes absolutely everything: grease, grime, dirt, dust, the lot. When building a pond, get yourself some of them. They are the best thing since sliced bread. B&Q big wipes, and they smell like lemons as well, and they make your hands smell lemony fresh. Right, so once you're all clean, I pre-cleaned before hitting record. I'm going to try and do this without getting glue all over the Tempest, because I see Dave down that end has already done that. So I'm going to try and do it without making any more of a mess as I can. So if I tilt it sideways, perfect. And I always find as well, guys, everybody's got their own way of doing it, and I'm sure each one of you will find your own way of doing it. I always like to glue the inside first before the outside bit. So load of glue on the inside of that, load of glue on the outside of that, and then push together with just enough room to make sure I can get a spanner or pliers in there, and the job is a good one. Now, some people like to give it a bit of a twist. I don't. I find I get more leaks if I give it a twist. Other people say the opposite, so again that one is sort of an each to your own, I suppose. But yeah, that one is glued on. I'm going to get the next one on. Yeah, so I may have put a tiny bit too much glue on that connection, but never mind, it ain't gonna leak. It certainly ain't gonna leak, but that's all glued in pretty damn good. So just wait for that to go off. Another little tip, guys, when installing these, do not, and I mean do not, forget to put these on. Would have been okay for me on this occasion because I could have always unscrewed all them, took the pipe off and slid it on the other end, but sometimes you might have like 90-degree bends and stuff in the bit of pipe where you need to fit one of these too, and you cannot get these over a 90-degree bend. I know, I've tried, been there, made that mistake, done it. So yeah, always put that on your pipe first, get it out of the way, don't need it while you're gluing, and don't try and have it here while you're gluing, because if you end up getting glue in the threads, then that can bugger that out. So yeah, just get it on your pipe, put it out of the way, make sure it's round the right way. Yeah, then get that glued on. So that's all on. I'm going to let that set for 10-20 minutes and see how we go. And as they say in France, voila. So I've still got access if I want to need to take that off. It's a bit stiff. All I now need to do, work out my supports for around the Tempest. As I say, I've got this stuff to go around the Tempest just to stop it wibbling and wobbling, and then I'm going to support it as well from the bottom using some heavy duty brackets. Now I know there are specifically designed EasyPod brackets and they are nice bits of kit, I'm not disputing that, but for 30 quid, when if you've got a little bit of DIY skills, I can make pretty much the exact same thing for less than a fiver. Let me snap back to you in a second. Now, I picked these up from the local builders merchants. Now these are heavy duty, probably the heaviest duty L bracket you can buy. Now these set me back a massive £1.99 each, £4 for the pair, just less than. Now the plan was to make something exactly like the Tempest has on, you know, for sale through certain retailers. Can't remember who sells them, but apologies whoever does sell them. So I was going to have one on the top, one on the bottom, and do it that way. Well, I've decided I'm going to make something slightly different. I don't really need a lot of support at the top because I'm going to use the wraparound metal stuff. I can't remember what you call it, but yeah, I'm going to use that just to stop it wibbling and wobbling near the top. So these I'm going to use to support the bottom. It's a lot easier for me to show you what I'm going to do than it is me tell you what I'm going to do. So yeah, so what I've basically done is I've made that out of a bit of wood, an old scaffolding board, a good strong not rotten one. Again, this was just laying around my garden, but small bit of wood. You could use pallet wood and put some bits together, but basically that is going to go up against the post. The EasyPod is going to rest in there. You can see I've cut it at a 45-degree angle around, and I've left a big enough hole that I can still get to the screws on the valve and everything. So yeah, let me show you what I'm doing with that. So you can probably tell that is how that's going to sit. So the two brackets, that's going to bolt up against the post. They're going to screw onto there. Luckily they don't get in the way of the hole, and yeah, that is going to be more than strong enough to support the weight of the Tempest, considering it's already floating in midair by itself at the minute. Obviously full of water it's going to be a lot heavier, but there is ever so slight bend on the pipe there, but only a tiny one. So I'm going to get these fitted to the wall and get the Tempest all secure on there. So they're now screwed on there. I've decided to go long one on the post on one part and the short one on the post on the other part, so the long one is going along there, extra support. So give me a second and I'll get it on. And there it is, all up. This ain't even on yet. I did say you could fit it for around a 5. You generally, if you do the cut on this bit of wood good enough, I mean that ain't going nowhere. That's as solid as a rock. So I don't need these per se, but I'm going to put them on just because I can. Obviously once it's full of water it's going to get heavy, so I'm going to get them on and that will be job done. And as they say in Germany, das ist das. So we're all nice and level. Hopefully you can see that bubble there. In fact, let me zoom you back into normal. There we go. Now you can see it, look. Perfectly level that way. Get round there. Pretty much level that way, but that's not as important. It's basically as long as these lines are coming out straight, which that means that needs to be level. If it's tilted backwards or forwards ever so slightly, they're still coming out straight, which is the important thing. But yeah, it's almost straight. It was straight, but I must have just tightened one screw too many, and now as you can see the bubble is just off centre, but meh, I can live with that. I can live with that. So yeah, that pipe is going to be just the right height to go over the Easy Pod, and I can still get the cover off, and then that one is going to run down 90 degree there and drop into the shower. That one there. Yeah, been chopping. Use me jigsaw and my circular saw and my grinder to do a bit of sanding to make that bit of wood. But yeah, so that is how I found is the best way to fit a Tempest, because if I need to remove it for any reason, all I've got to do, unscrew that union when that one's fitted as well, unscrew that union, couple of screws there and lift it off. Job is a good one, because I could have made a full circle bit and got a bigger bit of wood, but these are what I had lying around, and that way it will just slide out this way. That is just supporting the weight. They are keeping it on there so it can't slip off. Job's a good one. As Andy from Derby Koi would say, job is an absolute good one. That is a fantastic way to fit an Easy Pod. Keeping it on 2-inch pressure pipe. Colour of my hands. Keeping it on 2-inch pressure pipe, and then you haven't got the worry of restricting your flow. 2-inch unions onto the outside of the Tempest valves, and then straight into a 2-inch bit of pipe. But yeah, let's have a quick look at the fishies. They're all doing uber well. In fact, I've been so busy doing that I haven't fed them for about 3 hours, so bear with me. Let me grab them some food. Tub's almost empty again. Ah. Even though I've lost 4 fish, because I've had a few warm days, they seem to be eating an awful lot more. But yeah, as you can see, they're all happy and healthy, growing like stink. Some of the ones I thought were around 35 are actually around 45, so yeah, they need to get the big ones out, give them a quick measure. But yeah, they're doing uber fantastic, and so are all the other fishies. So yeah, I just also want to say a massive thank you, following on from my last video, everybody that had a look at the new Keeping It Koi merch store, where you can find all your Keeping It Koi merch. But an even bigger thank you to the few people that actually bought some of the Keeping It Koi merch to help support the channel. I mean, there is literally everything on there. Pint glasses, flip-flops, pillars, you name it, it's on there. For those of you that would like to support the channel that doesn't want to own any Keeping It Koi merch, you can hit the thanks button down here below the video and show your support that way. Alternatively, I have the bowl nets. So yeah, these are the bowl nets. They're round in shape, metre in diameter. Because they're round in shape and a metre in diameter, they fit most bowls under 80 centimetres. Whether it's your small round blue bowl, you drape your net over, pull your cord nice and tight, and then you've got protected fishies, and then you've got your standard 60 centimetre measuring bowl, rectangular, and even though this is a round net, again you loosen your cord, drape it over your bowl and pull your cord nice and tight again. Keeps your fish in your bowl while you're busy doing other things. And the bowl nets are £10 each, £2 postage. Andy from Andy's Koi Puddle, he's recently bought a net off me, and I was expecting the photo he sent me shortly after I sent it was to be a picture of the net on his bowl. He sent me this. I thought, when I first opened the photo, I thought, where did he get that mug? And realised all the postage I send out, I put one of my little Keeping It Koi stickers on the bag, box, whatever I'm posting out. He's peeled it off and stuck it on an espresso mug. Love it. Way to go, Andy. That absolutely cracked me up. Loved it. Cheers, Andy, brother. But yeah, so there's many ways you can support the channel. I just want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in every week to watch. Tempest is up, and then we're just still waiting on getting the pond fiberglass. So on that note, guys, thanks all for watching. Like the video if you haven't already, and we will catch you all on the next one.